Hey, what's up guys, it's Fish here and welcome back to another epic Karak siege battle on Total War Warhammer. Today we are looking at another custom map battle, and may I just say, these mod tools have been out for 2-3 months and still people are producing just amazing maps. It feels like the longer that people get to use these mod tools, the better they are becoming with them, which obviously makes a lot of sense, and it's just awesome to see the Total War mod community flourishing. I believe there is now a campaign mod map pack which has around about 40 custom maps in it which you can play on the campaign map, which is just awesome. I can't wait until every single map has its own custom map battle, because that would be glorious. Today we are exploring another Karak, and it's going to be an intense one. We are fighting a 2v1 battle. I am playing as the Dwarfs, and two people who joined me on my stream are coming to attack me. They are both playing as the Greenskins in their ferocious hordes, and it should just end up being an epic last stand battle, because I have this really nice throne room in here which I'm going to be defending with my life. I have my most elite soldiers back here, and this is where my soldiers are going to fall back, and the enemy are just going to pour in through this outer defense right here, and we are going to fight under the glorious statue of the dwarves of our forefathers, and it's going to be an amazing battle. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. If you want to skip straight to the battle, because what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and look at the map in a bit more detail and then look at the army comps. If you want to skip straight to the battle, then there should be a skip to battle button in the description. Just open it up. It'll probably be towards the bottom of the screen, and then you'll be able to just jump straight to the battle and kind of pass all this stuff if you find it kind of boring. So yeah, let's go ahead and start off by looking at the map. So there's several ways actually into the castle itself. I guess kind of more of a defensive position. We have some really nice side gates. So the enemies spawn here, and they spawn around here, and they can also spawn over here, so coming in through every single entrance, which is really cool. And I also like how the modder has taken time to kind of also I guess also add detail around, even though you can't get back here. I really appreciate it when the modders add detail, this this exit where the orcs have obviously have come into the fortress, these little side passages which obviously again you can't get through, but again it just makes it look really cool that you can make your way back here, and it kind of gives you a bit more atmosphere to the actual battle itself, which is great news for sure. So as I said, there's 3 ways in, one through there. Again, we haven't actually looked through here. We'll go quickly do that. Again, you can see more dwarven entrances and stuff, and entrances to the actual mountains itself. Then obviously when we get back after obviously the orcs have spawned in, when we move more into the dwarven defense, we have these really cool bridges which are again just kind of off to the side, but it makes for a really nice interesting battle, as it just opens up more avenues of attack than just 1 or 2 single choke points. So I think there's 5 ways into this initial place. Yeah, exactly 5. Or no, 6? Yeah, 5. So you can come through this bridge right here, which again, I really like how the modder has kind of added in stairs. I think that's a really nice, good change. Then we obviously have this entrance point right up here, and then the 2 over there. Then as we make our way back, we have the last dwarven stands right here, where you can set up some nice artillery positions up on the side, either side. And you also obviously have a really nice choke point, just kind of choke point upon choke point, and then this really nice open field. So that's pretty much the map. It's really interesting, and I love the way he's kind of created this entire environment. There's so much life going on in the city itself, and it looks really awesome. So if we look at the army comps quickly, we'll start off with the evil army comps, just because it's easy. You can also see the balance power is definitely not in my favor. I think I gave them around about 15,000 gold more than me, but put a limit on max 1 artillery, so they should have a load of elite infantry, which should be able to go toe to toe. I mean, if you look at the right hand side, this map just looks so sick. So if we look at this army, we've got the bloody hands right here. We've got some savage orcs supported by some savage orc archer boys. We've got some goblin big boss. He's going to be leading these savage orcs into battle. As we make our way back, we have some black orcs, the fierce black orcs of the bloody hands. These guys are ferocious warriors and can go toe to toe with any dwarven unit. That's for sure. We have an Arachnarok and a giant back here, along with Wazog as well, who's leading the bloody hands. We also have the Crimson Killer Orc boys. These guys are fierce as fuck. Boy, these guys are so good in melee combat. They have really good armor piercing damage, and obviously, wielding 2 axes is always pretty nice. Got some more Savage Orc boys. That's going to be making up the main component over there. Then we go to where the main army of the other Orc player is. This is commanded by Grimgor Ironhide. We have some Orc boys making up the initial kind of assault, I guess, more as cannon fodder. We have some Trolls along here with some chevrons. We have some more Trolls just peeking around this little lantern here by the Dwarfs. Then we have some nasty Skulkers. Again, these guys can Vanguard deployment. Then we have some more Orc boys pushing up. That's going to be making up kind of the main cannon fodder forces of the Orc player. God, apparently I can't speak today. We got another Arachnarok, so this is actually the Arachnarok Queen. So we have 2 Arachnaroks, which are going to be brutal. We have Grimgor just kind of overviewing the battlefield, letting his legions advance forward, which looks great. And as we move back, we have more Black Orcs, more Black Orcs, another unit of the Crimson Killers. So this is going to be a very, very hard battle. We've got some Night Goblin archers as well, along with some more Orc arrow boys. Then finally the last army, which is just pretty much an army of like squigs, which again is just such a cool unit. It's a unit I don't really use too much. These guys are just hilarious. They just like devour dwarfs, which is just so brutal. So here's some squigs, and we make our way back. We have some savage orc boy big uns, and some 2 more units of trolls. So lots of trolls, a couple giants, and a bunch of enemy Arachnaroks as well. So it's going to be a difficult battle. If we look at my force really quickly, you can see on my front line here, I have some Dwarven warriors. These are just, you know, almost like just cannon fodder troops to try and slow up the enemy. On either flank, I have a load of these Longbeards. They're going to be making up my main force. These guys, the warriors of Dragonfire Pass, which again are a regiment of renown. These guys are making their way to the gate, or the, I guess, bridge right here to go ahead and hold it off. The rest of the soldiers are forming up, and they are going to be made up of these Longbeards with great weapons. These are great armor piercing, and I want to kind of use these against more of the heavily armored Black Orcs. Then we have Grudge Thrower, some Thunderers, which obviously will be so vital with me from taking down the Trolls and the Arachnaroks. Then we have Belagar Ironhammer, looking amazing, even though he's kind of melted into the wall, but let's ignore that. We have a cannon over here as well, and I believe I also have an organ gun somewhere. Yeah, I have an organ gun back here as well, which should hopefully rip through the enemy lines. Then as we make to our more meatier part of our infantry lines, we have 2 units of hammerers. Then as we go back, we have the elite dwarven forces, the Ironbreakers. These guys are born and bred in the underways, so they are going to be more than capable of taking out the enemy. We have some dwarven warriors of great weapons. We have Thunderers, more Ironbreakers, a cannon back here as well, which is obviously going to be shooting into the great vast open halls of the dwarf. This just looks so amazing. I love these custom maps, and I love all the like buildings and stuff around. It does look epic, and it's going to be amazing when we're actually fighting in here, because this is actually a really close battle as well, like a super close battle. Then we obviously have the last Ironbreakers back here. So cool, I think we've done the army comps. Let's go ahead and jump straight into a battle. We'll start off, I guess, by looking from my dwarven point of view as the troops are just running into position. There are so many goddamn enemies advancing towards us. You can already see over here as well, they are pouring across the bridge itself. The Longbeards are ready to meet them, though. If we just zoom in, you can see the Savage Orcs right there at the edge of the bridge, just taunting us, just screaming off words, as the rest of the army do get into position. We've got the Trolls moving up as well, along with the Orc boys. And again, these Orc boys are just basically here to absorb some ammunition as they do slowly advance up here with the rest of the support of the rest of the infantry. But I mean, it's not like they're poorly supported. There's an Arachnarok Queen right there, along with loads of other Goblin Fanatics, which are going to be doing plenty of damage. So I think the main Orc lines are literally just forming up here, but the Squigs are going to be the first unit to engage on my right flank against the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. And these Squigs are actually pretty good against infantry, especially against Dwarven Warriors as well. The Squigs are probably going to come out on top here, especially because they have a load more men supporting. I did actually advance a unit of Dwarven Warriors with great weapons as well over here, just to kind of protect their flank a little bit. We actually do have some Trolls as well making their way down the steps. That looks so cool as they just come down the steps. Oh, I love the bridge here. This is really nice. So the Dwarfs are going to be fighting, however, the main engagement is going to be soon underway. You can see both the bridges are now engaged. We're receiving some missile fire right here, or maybe even a Foot of Gork going down right here. I'm not sure if I missed that. But the main infantry line is going to get underway now, and they're going to be charging into my line of Longbeards. Luckily, we do have a Thane here. The Thane is going to be supporting our soldiers. Even our own Grudge Thrower just took... Oh my god, our own Grudge Thrower. Friendly fire, friendly fire. The Thane needs to get back up and charge into battle, as it does just completely erupt. I believe the Thane is popping his oath of Wrath and Ruin, along with his Oath of Steel, and the other ones which do come along with him. So he's going to be helping to rally the soldiers. We did get charged here by a bunch of Savage Orc boy big uns. We're going to be ramming into my Longbeard line. We need these guys to hold firm as best as they can. I do actually also have my Ethereal Thane, which I forgot to mention, who is also here, and he's going to be doing amazing against these guys. These these boar boys are going to be doing nothing against my main line, against my ethereal fame, that's for sure. The main line of these Dwarven warriors are also now fighting. I'm not expecting much from these guys, especially because the Savage Orc boys are going to be ramming through my lines now and hitting onto my side of my flank, which is not going to be good news. However, my artillery is unleashing hell now. The organ guns are now shooting, getting perfect shots off right into the side of the Savage Orc boys. As well as that, my Thunderers are also shooting, as you guys can see right there. So I'm definitely whittling these guys down, which is a necessity if I have any hope of winning this battle. I need my soldiers to be able to go ahead and kill the cavalry, because the cavalry is going to be so potent. If they can get behind my lines, if they can go ahead and, you know, get behind the Dwarven shield wall, the shield wall is just going to break apart, and the Orcs are going to rip them apart from the front and the back. And that's something we just cannot have happening. However, as I say that, we have the Arachnorok just moving in and just tearing through my main Longbeard line. Surround these guys. I didn't actually bring a single unit of Slayers here, so it's going to be up to my cannons and my Thunderers to be able to take these guys down, as the Arachnorok is just causing havoc. Luckily, we are actually pushing back some Savage Orcs. However, they're soon to be replaced by a Giant who is making his way in, and a load of Black Orcs as well, going to go ahead and take the fight to the Dwarfs. The Giant moving in, you can see my front line is definitely starting to dwindle. If we go ahead and just slow-mo it quickly, just so we can get the full force of all this engagement, as this Giant is about just to go ahead and lay the smack down on my Longbeards here. Oh, he's not. He's actually being nice. That's good. I'll take that. But we are going to get some Savage or Boar boys charging to the back. The Giants and the Trolls and the Arachnoroks are just ripping apart my front line. My cannons are trying to get off as many shots as possible. You can see these guys trying to focus down the Arachnorok right here. But again, you know, we are doing... Oh, actually, I'll tell a lie. We've done a quarter damage to it already, or maybe even a third. So I'm pretty happy with that. The Arachnorok is going to be pushing on my main line. But if we take like a little zoom out shot here, and you look at the map right here, you can see that my lines are struggling right now. I'm not going to lie. You can see that I do have Belagar in, along with my Runesmith, and my Longbeards of great weapons are definitely starting to drop it. Even more so that this Arachnorok Spider is breaking through my front lines, along with these Trolls as well. It's not looking great for me. You can see I'm almost admitting defeat right here on this outer layer. I'm already starting to push back my organ guns to the inner layer here. I'm going to be slowly retreating more and more soldiers, especially these Thunderers as well, because the Thunderers are such an important unit if I have any hope of winning this battle. So I really need these guys to just get off as many shots as they can, and then fall back if they can, as they just reload their rifles. Getting another shot off on the Arachnorok, and we are actually going to rout it. That's awesome. Obviously, it's going to come back from routing, which is not good, but, you know, this does give us some really nice free shots off on the main line, which is great. If we look at the other Arachnorok as well, we can see the Arachnorok Queen is up to full HP, which is not good. But again, we're routing a lot of these Trolls as well, which we can send them back. I think it does mean that our cannon has been overwhelmed now, which is again not great, by these spiders from the Arachnorok Queen. But the Longbeards of great weapons should be enough to take care of them and push them back. It's getting a little bit laggy right now. As you guys can see, we do have quite a lot of soldiers here, you know, almost 6,000-7,000 soldiers in this engagement. So, and they're all in a pretty small, tight, compact area. So it might get a little bit jumpy here and there, but hopefully it will still be pretty enjoyable for you guys to watch. The Ethereal Runesmith is in here, and he's going to be doing just perfect amounts of damage to the enemy lines. You can see the Orcs just coming everywhere, the arrow fire coming over, some spells coming off by Wazog, and I believe Grimgor is also here. But I mean, this is so... Look at all the soldiers still left to come into the actual engagement itself. We have a bunch of these Night Goblins and Nasty Skulkers. Nasty Skulkers I'm not too worried about, but it's what lies behind them which scares me. We have more Orc Boys, which is, you know, definitely a scary concept, but we also have Grimgor. Grimgor is just waiting for his time just to push up with his soldiers and his Black Orcs and just ruin my day. Luckily, I've kind of almost done the same strategy over here. I've made it so that I've got my elite Ironbreakers and Hammerers back on the last line. So, you know, these Black Orcs are not going to have an easy time of it, that's for sure. So now you can see I'm rushing back as many units as possible. I want to get these cannons out, because if I can set up a cannon position over back here in the last kind of hall, I guess, the last hallway, then that's something we are definitely going to be doing. You know, set up a really nice archway, and you can already see my soldiers are just, you know, filling out this last hall. This is our last stand. You know, there is no escape from here. There's no way out. We will give our lives in this position. And my Ironbreakers are precisely ready to do that. Belegar himself, even though he's under heavy missile fire, just look at all them arrows trying to hit Belegar right there. He is falling back along with the cannons. He's decided that he will form up his shield wall line back here and give his boost to his soldiers as best he can, you know, from the defensive line of the Ironbreakers. The Orc players are going to take this advantage just to completely rout my entire lines now. They're going to just make sure that no units can come back from routing and maybe come up behind them. And this is not looking good for the Dwarven players. However, as you guys know, the Dwarfs are stout. We are down to 2,000 men. The enemy are down to 3,500 men. But again, you got to remember, they have all the extra money. They have Arachnaroks and Giants. So the numbers may not sound that much against my favor. But remember how much money they got and how many creatures they have. You know, how many Trolls and Arachnaroks. You know, this one Arachnarok probably counts for like 3 units of my Ironbreakers, maybe even 2 units of Ironbreakers cost-wise. I still have some brave Longbeards out here fighting hard, and I cannot ask for any more of these guys. These Longbeards are going to be fighting against the Savage Orcs, just trying to give our soldiers more time to form up in the inner hall. And, you know, that's exactly what we are going to do. And it's going to get hectic, that's for sure. The enemy still have, I believe, loads of magic left as well, which they're going to be using. You can see I'm even over here trying to get my Ethereal Runesmith out of here as well. But I think so far this has probably been one of my favourite Dwarven battles on a Karak. I just really like the way it's really simple, but it has loads of strategy involved in it on the outer way. As we have more and more arrow fire coming in, this is just difficult for my men to hold the line. And as you can see, my outer layer has now been destroyed. The enemy are pushing on. I'm popping a few. Oh no, this is a foot of Gork coming in here. I do actually notice a foot of Gork coming in, and I managed to get a majority of my soldiers out of the battle. However, we did get disrupted, and that's going to allow the Squigs to come flying in along with the Trolls as well. The Arachnarok is not far behind, and these Trolls are going to be smashing away my small vanguard of Longbeards. But my Dwarfs are going to be forming up as fast as they can. Reform the line. The order is shouted among the units as the Ironbreakers try and reform. Remember, these guys do have some brutal satchel charges, but the enemy hordes are just relenting. Look how many men they still have left back here. And over here on this left flank, there's just so many enemies for us to hold back. However, we are going to unleash our volleys of these satchel charges, hitting the advancing enemy lines. But I mean, this is kind of almost in the enemy favor in a sense, because they're kind of, this is exactly what they want. They want the Orc boys and the weaker units to be absorbing this, whereas the better units like these monsters and these Black Orcs are not getting touched by these satchel charges. So I'm almost falling into the enemy hands right here. The Arachnarok is going to be pushing in right now. Luckily, we are going to get some satchels off. But we also have this beautiful artillery setup back here. The organ guns have a perfect vision of the enemy back here. And I just look how sick that looks. As more and more enemies come flying in, explosives come out, the organ guns are going out trying to take down the Arachnarok. The cannons are now shooting back here. This is a awesome Karak, and we are actually going to push back. Yeah, I think with enough fire, the Arachnarok Queen is going to get pushed back. She is down to a half health, which is great, but I think some Black Orcs are starting to push in. As we look on the tactical view, we can really just see the sheer amount of enemy forces pushing forward. Luckily, we do still have both our Thanes left, I believe, so that's going to be helping us out in these melee combats. I think the Doom Divers are now coming in. Doom Divers are coming in as well, hitting back our line back there. That one thankfully just about missing, but there are plenty more to come in. So we are going to be routing this Arachnarok, which is awesome. The amount of Thunderers I have focusing it down is great, but you can see the amount of missile fire actually coming in, and another foot of Gork coming in round the back, and that's just going to be disintegrating my unit of forces back here. But it does not dismay the Thunderers from shooting in. They have a lot of things to kill, and the enemy lines are just relenting. Luckily, I do have the Ironbreakers here, and I would not ask any other unit apart from the Ironbreakers to hold this line, because they will be the ones which do hold this line and do not give up on me. Another goddamn foot of Gork coming in. Like, holy shit, how much magic does the enemy have? Wazog comes charging in as well to rally the soldiers, and my Ethereal Runesmith is coming in as the enemy looks to be going all in on this assault, and all we have to do is hope that our soldiers can hold the line. I'm really counting on the cannons back there, what you guys can see. I'm really hoping on these guys to be racking up as many kills as possible, and especially just mainly, I guess, just killing the main enemy lines of the trolls and the giants and units like that. I guess that's kind of my main focus. But I mean, oh my god, there's just so many enemies pouring into this gap, this hallway. It is just beyond insane how many men they have left still. I mean, it's not even the main line. The Black Orcs are only just marching up as we speak. Yeah, Grimgor is leading up his elite vanguard back here, past all the dead dwarfs and the dead boars, and he's just going to be advancing up this, you know, insanely strong holding of Black Orcs, which I'm very, very scared of. However, we will not give up easily, and we will not give up without a fight. We will hold to the bitter end, and we are Dowie. Any dwarf that routs will have to become a slayer. That is for sure. I believe at this point the enemy do start pushing forward my lines, so I am actually having to commit some more hammerers here. The artillery is in overtime right now. They're just trying to use up every single cannonball they have left remaining, as we have more Doom Divers come flying in. Some of them actually hitting my hammerers back there, which is not good because they are my reserve line. Luckily, the enemy are pushing in their giants and their Arachnorocks right now, which is allowing me just to have a perfect shot on them with everything I have. You see, even my Thunder, my Thunder is actually retreating right now. Belegar is retreating. The inner gate is lost. Retreat back to the statue, and we will give our lives under this statue with one last epic stand. Luckily, I believe some of my cannons got, these cannons are running out of ammunition quite fast. And now the enemy is going to actually have to approach me, and they're going to have to run down this really long, I guess, gateway right here, and the pathway, I should say. And this artillery is just going to continue to open up on them. My Thunderers are now running for their lives. You can see that I've completely given up on this. Luckily, thank God, the cannonballs just hit that giant right there and stopped him from catching these Thunderers. These Thunderers will be so important. Yeah, the amount of artillery coming in on these guys. The Thunderers are now going to notice that, turn off, and get a volley off on the giant. Unleash hell. And is he going to go down, or has he just been knocked down? He's just been knocked down, but he's slowly routing. And my soldiers I still have over here are actually managing to rout a lot of the weaker units, the Orc Boys and the nasty Skulkers and the other units like that. The actual Arachnarok has gone down as well. Is the Arachnarok Queen gone down? Or is the Arachnarok Queen still alive? I think she might still be alive somewhere because I can't see her corpse. But hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, look at that artillery fire right there coming in. And there we go. Another giant has been slain. Dwarven artillery will not go down without a fight. That is for sure. My Ethereal Runesmith is still alive. He is retreating back. And I believe my main line right here is just over. The Black Orcs have now pushed up. Even though we've managed to send back a lot of the enemy, weaker units, they still have all these archers left as well. And these archers are just racking up so many kills on my infantry line. Balance power has actually shifted kind of in my favor. Even though we're still outnumbered 2-1, it's actually not looking too bad for us. I guess, granted, we do have a lot of elite troops left, but so did the enemy, so I don't really know why it's so in my favor. And I mean, this just looks goddamn great. Oh, my artillery coming in big there. Look at the shots coming in. We are just ravaging the enemy line right now. This is brutal. We are not giving any quarter whatsoever, and I cannot ask anything less of my dwarfs, that is for sure. You can see some of the hammerers right here are fighting hard against the enemy lines. Even though the amount of arrow fire coming in, I imagine a lot of this arrow fire is actually doing friendly fire, but hey, I am not complaining here one bit. These hammerers are doing the most noble of tasks right now. They are holding the enemy Black Orcs in place so my artillery can continue just to rip them apart. And without this, who knows what could happen. If the enemy were allowed to charge on my forces now, I wouldn't be using up all this ammunition. I mean, this cannon right here has used up all its ammunition. Say the enemy got onto me or got down this pathway a little bit sooner, then maybe they would have been able to silence me and take out my lines, a lot quicker and have a lot more men left. But even though the Doom Divers are coming in, the cannons are still shooting at an optimal pace, but the enemy lines, you can see, are now starting to charge down upon me. The cannons need to get off as many shots as they can, and I'm hoping they will. The organ guns did just get off another brutal volley, and I'm hoping they are ripping apart the enemy lines. You can see the Orc Big Boss coming in right now. He's going to be falling back. Yeah, the organ guns are just so brutal right now. One lone statue right there going after the Orc Big Boss. That was hilarious. How amazing would it be if we could get Thunderers up here on these pathways and just shooting down? This would be an epic last stand. Thunderers all around here. Or even just artillery emplacements. if they kind of extruded some of the mountain or something, and we just had like a cannon or an organ gun up here. That would be amazing. So the enemy lines are starting to advance. The satchel charges are going out. Again, not on the most optimal targets, but I mean, these hammers are just going to slaughter the nasty skulkers. They do obviously have a huge Doom Diver catapult, and the Crimson Killers are coming in, but the Iron Breakers are just through the fire and the flame against these units of Black Hawks, almost just stopping them in their path. I don't know what's going on. They're just engulfed by fire, and the Iron Breakers are doing what they do best. The cannons are still shooting this close to the line, and the entire Orc force is just running through. And I mean, we still have so many men left as well. Look at all these Black Hawks. This is Grimgor's vanguard still just moving up, and I mean, look at the dead which has occurred during this battle. That is just beyond insane. That is insanity right there, as more and more Black Hawks, there's so many left, just keep pushing in. And I mean, we are running low on ammunition right now. We have some Thunderers left remaining, that is good. We've got another spell coming in here, actually destroying the Hammerers, which is pretty brutal. And these Savage Orcs right here on this left flank are going to be overwhelming my Thunderers, which is going to be good for them. They need to silence these Thunderers if they have any hope of winning this battle. Cannons are still shooting, and we do actually manage to rout the first line of these troops. But these troops are mainly just units that have really just come from from fighting beforehand. These aren't the fresh Black Orcs, which is still remaining. And I mean, look at this little angle right here. This is great. It really, really is. I want to get like right next to the dwarf. Right there, that'd be sick. As we just see more soldiers coming in, more of my hammer is now forming up. If we look at a more tactical point of view, we can see that I'm trying to kind of create a nice little arc here where I can completely surround the enemy forces. I'm rallying forward. Belegar has gone charging in against the enemy lines. You can see he's going deep, and his Iron Breakers are soon to rally towards him right here. Even though advanced power is still not in my favor, we are still heavily outnumbered, and Grimgor is finally turning up with his elite vanguard of Black Orcs. Belegar is just running forward, and he's charging like any good proud dwarf should. The cannon position does look like it's slowly getting overwhelmed, but a few of them are still shooting, so I cannot ask any more of these cannons to still be shooting. And we just have a brutal last combat here. This is the last stand. We will either crush the enemy here by routing them with our ferocious warriors, or we will get pushed back and annihilated by the enemy lines. I definitely hope it is the latter. I hope it is the first one, sorry, not the latter. I do not want to get annihilated by the enemy lines, that is for sure. The Iron Breakers are now formed up. These are my regiment of renowned ones as well, so they are pretty brutal and extremely good in combat. As we can see, Belegar is actually taking a bit of a hitting there. Grimgor has turned up. Even though we are about to rout Wazog, that does allow them to go ahead and just allow Grimgor to push up a little bit. We can see that he is advancing forward with his Black Orcs, and Wazog is actually going to retreat back, but we are going to get an amazing throw from our satchels right there onto the back lines, and that, again, it's just going to open up so much more combat. You can hear our Runesmith just chanting forward. Belegar is going to be charging back in. He has seen Grimgor, and he wants Grimgor dead. So I'm going to be advancing everyone. I kind of feel like this is my only way to win the battle. I feel like the Black Hawks will slowly just whittle down my lines. So I need to try and take out the general if I can, and use Belegar and use the Ethereal Runesmith to do that and make that a surety. More explosions coming out, which is great. But my numbers are definitely dwindling. You can definitely see the Black Hawks are ripping apart my lines. I'm down to 600 men. The enemy are down to 900. That's pretty much just 900 elite Black Hawks left, which is definitely not something you want. But again, I've got 600 elite dwarfs. These are, I would not ask any more. I would not take 1,000 or like 10,000 dwarfs from the Iron Hills over these brave 600, because when I called upon them, they answered, and they were answered to defend the call of this Karak against this Orc invasion. As that Crimson Killer just pulls up. Hold the line, boys. More explosions going out, ripping apart the enemy lines. This is amazing to see the explosions. I believe Belegar, though. Belegar is wounded right now. He is extremely low. Yeah, look at Belegar's health right now. So I'm having to try and get him the hell out of there and use my Iron Breakers to just open up the space for him to retreat. And unfortunately, Belegar is actually having to fall back a little bit. He doesn't want to die. He knows if he dies, his men will not be able to win this battle. So he's actually falling back. He's under hot pursuit by a few units of Savage Orcs. However, they're going to know that they cannot fight him in 1v1 combat, and they're going to be retreating back with their tails between their legs. The rest of the rest of the Black Orcs are still pushing, but it's looking pretty good for me. Balance power is still really even. We're doing great damage. If Grimgor can kind of slay and get his way more into my lines, I feel like I will lose this battle. But we are managing to rout a large portion of the enemy lines, and we just need to keep on pushing. I mean, we still have a full strength unit of Ironbreakers right here. My Ethereal Runesmith popping the Rune of Oath and Steel, which is great. It's going to give me loads of armor, even though these Crimson Killers have some good armor-piercing damage. The extra armor is still just going to be really useful, and hopefully try and neglect that. The Ethereal Runesmith is the one doing the work against Grimgor. We also have some hammerers on him as well, just fighting hard. Oh my god, he's just getting smacked apart, but I believe Grimgor is getting extremely low. Yeah, you can see he is starting to rout, and I actually have some of my Regiment of Renown as well coming around this flank to go ahead and silence the enemy forces. I mean, this left flank is looking a bit shaky for me. I've got, what, 8 hammerers left on this left flank right now, and they are fighting hard, but there's not many of them left. Luckily, we do have some Iron Breakers making up the main battle line, and as we spend one last time just going down this great hallway, we can see that we are going to go ahead and claim victory. God, that was an epic battle right there. I love the way that we kind of had a nice little open field to begin with, and then we came into this really nice tightly knitted battle. It was amazing. So, oh my god, Doombringer brought an elite ass army. You can see that he didn't really go for numbers. He just went for like elite Savage Orcs, and yeah, he just went for some really good Savage Orcs. Doom Divers, and I guess he went for a Ragnarok and a Giant, whereas, you know, this Ghost player didn't go for both of them, and he did get a lot less. He got Orc Boys instead of Savage Orcs, so that definitely does make up. So we look at our forces, you can see a Belegar getting 74 kills, we can see the Hammer is doing pretty decent, one getting 167, but I think the Iron Breakers and the Artillery, oh my god, the Artillery, 401 kills on the Organ Gun, 266 on the Cannon. They were definitely the MVPs. I think today, Dwarven Artillery did prevail. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Also, let me know what you guys thought of the battle. If you enjoyed it, if you want to see more elves fighting humans, more elves fighting dwarfs, more orcs versus chaos, just let me know down below in the comments. Also, let me know what you guys thought of my tactic. If you think I should have gone ahead and held the outer a bit better, or if you think I should have gone ahead and moved all my forces within the first choke point. Let me know what you guys thought of my tactics in this battle, and I guess I'll see you guys next time, and fish out.